Hi, friends, and welcome as I continue the conversation of different theologies and themes and cool things about K-pop Demon Hunters and the entire soundtrack. I'm Reverend Yost. I serve a congregation, United Methodist congregation, right outside of Baltimore, and this time I'm joined with my friend who is also Baltimore-based clergy, Ashley Hoard. Would you like to introduce yourself a bit?
Sure. I'm Ashley Hoard. I am the Associate Pastor of Children and Youth at North Baltimore Mennonite Church. I am also a seminary student at Anabaptist Mennonite Biblical Seminary. I do that via distance learning, and I'm getting my MDiv degree. I hope to be done by 2027. And I'm excited to talk about this movie that ended up being not what I thought it was going to be like.
I feel like that's been the theme of everyone, because most people that end up loving this film were like, I'm not really a K-pop person. Correct.
No. So for us, it was the beginning of summer. And I think it may have been the first week. And my daughter, turns on Netflix and there's this movie and it says K-pop Demon Hunter. And I'm, of course, because of some of my religious upbringing, I'm like, oh no, it says demon in the title. I don't know what that means. And I said, okay, we'll watch it. We can watch it together. If it gets too scary, we'll turn it off. And then by the end of the movie, I was crying. And I was like, I don't understand what just happened, but I am now crying. And so that's how. So we've been listening to it, since it came out pretty much.
Yeah. And it's been really fun, talking to people from different traditions, because there is that embedded, I was raised Catholic, but somehow no, I was raised Catholic in an evangelical world, right?
Okay.
And so the way that evangelicalism is permeates our society, also ended up into my knowledge base somehow, despite how I wasn't necessarily told those things. But it was at my confirmation retreat that I was explicitly told that I should put away those Magic the Gathering cards because they're of the devil.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So, yeah, it's definitely interesting. And even I've talked to some parents of children now who when the kids are singing along, they skip Your Idol because it's demon singing kind of thing, which is interesting. And that's going to be a thing I'm going to have to talk to my friend next week, Angela, because she took a class on demonology recently. And now I have to be like, what do you think about children singing these types of lyrics? Is it really because it's demons that we should be looking out for? Or is there actually something going on even more? Or is it just because it is about celebrating having an idol without beating around the bush? But anyways.
Yeah, I don't know a whole lot about it. I know that, in our cultures not our own, demon can mean more like monster. So it's like reading the cultural framework. It's not going to be the same. And I think, reading something onto it that's not there isn't valuable.
Yeah. Yeah, which is interesting. That was the fun part about my first episode, was talking to my friend Tom, who was a friend from seminary and Korean American, and so he's familiar with some of the Korean stories, even though he was raised in America, so he had to get rid of a lot of it. But it is interesting that Korea is a predominantly Christian nation, and so Christianity is in their ethos also, and yet that isn't necessarily what this film is trying to take us to.
No.
And which, as I've said with multiple people, we're not trying to project Christianity onto the film, but we can see Christian themes in it, because that's the beauty of good art, is it speaks to you regardless of your tradition. And I always think about the whole the truth, and the truth will set you free. It's well, the truth isn't necessarily bound to a tradition. We can find things that are true. And now that I have bantered for entirely too long, so this is even more so when it comes to the track we're talking about today, which is Free. Do you want to share some initial thoughts and ideas?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely thought of that same verse. You will know the truth, and the truth will set you free.
Mm,
Keeping things hidden is not, helpful for our freedom, for our psyche. When we feel hidden inside, I think that's the start of a lot of like mental illness because we
mm,
can't actually express who we are. Um, I we we hear a lot about masking right now. I would
mm.
say, poor Rumi, she was told by her her mentor Celine, basically hide who you really are, mask yourself, and
Yeah.
one day you'll be fixed. And so it makes me think of Frozen a little bit. It was also the parents that were like, conceal, don't feel, hide yourself away. It's similar, except for Rumi, she has someone to talk to,
Yeah.
and that's what she gets in Jinu.
Yeah. Yeah. And I it's worth noting that like Celine is like Ruby's caretaker and then also has this like huge influence on these other young girls, which I'm sure are supposed to be portrayed as 20 somethings, but they're still they're so young compared to us, right?
Right. Yeah.
uh, but like
Oh,
um, even after the song, we're reminded of the fact that like the mantra for Huntrix is that like hunters are supposed to have supposed to live so that their faults and fears must never be seen.
yes. And I think that there's something about, I've gone through the deconstruction process of, having one sort of like way of living. And there was a bit of like when you attend church, you're supposed to like put your best face forward. You're supposed to wear your dress clothes, and you're supposed to like, present yourself a certain way. And,
Mm,
if there's a problem, you keep it like really internal and within the family system. Um, and I don't think that actually develops the vulnerability that we're supposed to have in community. And it doesn't bring healing to people. I was looking up like different verses that had to do with like solidarity and community. The
mm,
verses was from James, and it said, confess your sins to one another so that you may be healed. And it's like, there's this like tendency to want to like just hide all of that, hide everything that's hard, and only just say like, I'm doing fine, everything is great. And that won't bring freedom in the long run.
yeah. Hmm. That reminds me of for my classwork, they I think it was Murray Ray's book that I've recently been reading, and if anyone actually cares as to which book, then I can figure it out, but I don't remember right now. Actually, it's right next to me. Resurrection and Renewal. There we go. I'm writing this paper later, so I need to have the book nearby. He reminds us that we frequently forget that the Ten Commandments begins with a promise and a declaration, like God's the God that brought them out of Egypt and out of slavery.
Mhm.
Um, and so like the Ten Commandments aren't rules you have to follow. It's an understanding of like what freedom really looks like.
Yeah.
Like freedom looks like you don't have to chase after these idols, all of these things that make us embody more shame, that make us have to hide parts of who we are, um, all of these false understandings of the world, and then the rest of the I feel like the interpersonal ones, most people were like, oh yeah, those make sense, but like even like the idol one, like to not be controlled by money and popularity and all of the imagery things that are supposed to be the things that lead to more wealth and success. Um, so yeah,
Yeah.
and um, I think the other so like the premise of the song in the film comes out of a conversation of what does it mean to embody hope when everything feels hopeless.
Yeah.
And Remy drops some bangers, and it like, of course, the non-banger that she drops is she's talking to Ginu, and Ginu's like, "I made a mistake," and she's like, "Well, the problem is I am a mistake."
Yes. Wow.
Since birth, right? And
Right.
which makes her then say, "If there is no hope for you, what hope is there for me?"
Yeah.
And so really the being able to cast off our false selves and live as our full true selves in community, um I'm realizing now is also eschatological. Like it is a way of new creation breaking in, right here right now, and renewing things.
Yeah. I also it hit me this time when I watched the movie, because I watched it this morning. She has this conversation with her bandmates after
Yeah.
the song, and they're like really vulnerable, and like she had like an opportunity there that maybe she could have told them the truth, but she still didn't, because she
Yeah.
was hoping for this ultimate, like the way that she thought there would be ultimate healing, was still misguided, and she hadn't like come to the conclusion that what was really going to set her free was to like upturn the whole system.
Yeah.
Which is awesome, but she
Right.
hasn't realized that in this free song, but she has
Mm.
realized that if we don't face it, we can't fix it. And so like she's coming to her like ending that this is something that she really to deal with head on. Like it's like the beginning of some enlightenment about her whole journey. It's
Yeah.
very, I don't know.
Um
So, yeah,
yeah.
solidarity, like not having somebody to talk to is horrible. And then when you finally have somebody to talk to, I thought about how valuable therapy is even. Um, Not that Janu is a therapist, but it's somebody finally that she gets to talk to.
Yeah. And um wow. Okay, so there was a lot of things happening there.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. There's like all there's so
My
much good
brain
stuff.
is like a ping pong ball.
That is mine frequently. As everyone that knows me knows. Like, because oh man, I've already forgotten because that was so good too. Because there was, oh, okay, so there is having someone. What did you say before all of that? What did you start with?
Oh, I was talking about
Mm.
uh, she was being vulnerable with her bandmates, and she could have been like told them the truth, and like she didn't.
Yeah,
And yeah.
I was like, I was on the edge of my seat the first time I watched it, not like physically, but probably at least emotionally, because I was like, is she going to? And then she's just like,
Right.
and I would be sad without you people too.
Yes.
And it's
You're
just
like,
like,
dang it.
oh, we're so close. We're so close.
I know you're all swapping your like scar stories here, except you were not able to quite get there.
Yeah. And I feel like there's like dual things happening in this like conversation, like relationship with Ginu. Not even like the like ignoring the romantic part entirely, because like sure, we'll let that happen. It's a film. Um
Uh, I mean, I don't see it as romantic. That's like probably a different conversation.
well, it's more of like the weird, like they're trying to like have them like hold hands, and like there's like this weird thing happening there that they're trying
True.
to make as like they're intentionally presenting it as like the enemies to lovers trope, right? um
Right.
but if I ignore that part of it, um like the idea that like this is a person that she's able to like fully be understood. At least the part of her that she's concealed, he understands completely. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that's like, it's not just like yes, solidarity, and also um like there's all of the data about like having like one affirming adult in a trans kid's life like reduces the rate of suicides dramatically.
Yes.
um and then like I would love to know what that data is like for when it's like one like trans adult in the trans kid's life, like so that they don't even have to like say
Mm,
anything, right? Like that reminds me of like my
yeah.
very first spiritual director was a Jesuit, great guy, definitely cisgender. Um, who knows about the rest? I had to explain so much about myself as I was working with him, and it took me 18 months to get through the spiritual exercises by Saint Ignatius. And he was like, "Oh, that's probably a world record." And then like we wrap up and we keep going, right? My current spiritual director, I'm talking to her about that, and I mentioned that it takes 18 months. She goes, "Of course it should." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" She's like, "We're queer. The first thing you have to do in the spiritual exercise is fully understand that you're loved, and that's really hard to accept. So of course it took you that long." And it's just
Yeah.
like I like to have someone who gets it, who's further down the road than you, to be able to be like, cool. And it's also really fun because now whenever I like am talking about like going to different like um acts of solidarity in the more political sense, like when it comes to protests and stuff, she's like, well, make sure you pack this and this in your bag, because like she was there on the front lines during like the civil rights movement and like other
Yeah.
like anti-war movements since then. And now she's just a bit older. uh and just like, and then like just dumping this resource of knowledge that like it helps me feel more sane in a system that absolutely feels insane otherwise. um and like that, I think there's a lot of power in like being able to be your full self in front of someone that gets it, so you don't have to use nearly as many words.
Yes. And it's so exhausting.
It is.
It's so exhausting to feel like you're having to be bottled up, or you're having to not be your full self. And I'm sure it was like a breath of fresh air for Rumi to finally not have to have any guards up,
Yeah.
and to feel accepted. Like, not only did she not have to have any guards up, like he accepted her as she was.
Yeah.
And maybe his intentions were not, completely honorable.
Yeah.
He was still given, like you said earlier, hope.
Yeah.
That he didn't have to be, shamed into thinking that he was completely evil. That there was hope that he could regain a soul. And Rumi was the example of that for him. So it's just such a, like, how important it is to have that safe adult, that safe person that you can go to. I agree very much. I also I had this thought last week, and I realized today when I was thinking through the song and the podcast, when I was growing up, there was always that verse that said, don't forsake the assembling of yourselves together. And I was like, yeah, because if you do, you're just going to like run off course and do all sorts of crazy things, sex, drugs, and rock and roll. If you forsake this assembly of yourselves together. And now as an adult, I realize that the reason you're not supposed to forsake the assembling of yourselves is because you want to continue to know that you're loved and that you're known, and that you have people that can speak into your life and pour into your life. And it's like, oh, why did I only retain as a young person the negative and not like the positive aspects of community and mutuality? Like, I don't know why. Like,
Yeah.
I think it's whatever is stressed, right?
Yeah. I know for sure that I received the same message growing up.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no, you got to be in church, because otherwise you're going to end up just being one of those heathens that's absolutely like engulfed in sin. Yeah, no, I would say that I lived a very timid life as an agnostic throughout high school.
Mm,
But yeah, and when you're talking about like the being known in community, like I feel like I knew that was important. And it was in seminary when I read To Know As We Are Known by Parker
mm,
Palmer. I'm like, oh yeah, like yes. Because by the time I'm reading that and he's talking about like education as a spiritual journey, like that's what I had been doing in the classroom for like a decade and just like building like fostering places of belonging. And so I was like, oh, that's cool. Like, yes, that is true. And that's why church matters. And it's like
yeah.
it was like all of the little things kind of coming back together because it wasn't what we were told.
No. No.
Or not told
Yeah.
enough.
Yeah. Not told. Well, I mean, if you feel like you have to like hide yourself, I don't know. Like, I think it's all like all of that is connected, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah.
It's that you got to try to keep yourself together.
Mm. Oh, and you had mentioned you felt like it was a breath of fresh air for Rumi.
Yeah.
When I was rewatching it earlier, I did write down the line when she said, "Here with you, I can finally breathe."
Mm,
um, so yeah, it is wild to see like in that part of the film, like there's this tension between like both of them know that that it's easier to take deep breaths around each other, and Ginu's, I guess at this point he's supposed to be really old, right? So
right.
he's got
400, I think, something
yeah,
like that.
so
Yeah.
hundreds of years of believing the full narrative about his false self.
Yes.
Um, and while we want it to be taken care of very quickly um, in the film, the fact that it resolves by the end of the film is actually really quick compared to a 400-year span of being a demon.
Yeah. I really like at the end of the song when he says, I finally can't hear him. And that means because he comes right back,
Yeah.
and he gets taken down. But he finally doesn't hear him. And like those few seconds that he has of like peace,
Mm.
man, after hundreds of years of not having any peace, like, oh, that had to be really eye-opening. I don't know. Transformative.
Yeah.
I mean, you would hope. I mean, the next thing he does is betray Rumi, but
Yeah.
but he knows that there is something to it. There is something to this sharing of oneself with one another, of not being completely in the dark anymore,
Yeah.
alone, in the dark alone. Yeah.
Yeah. And like while I feel like the film wants us to focus on Rumi's journey, I think like that, like how her relationship and authenticity with him helped pull him out of this toxic system um, is a reminder of like how freaking hard it is to do the work to help dismantle Christian nationalism.
Oh,
Because it's not facts, it's not shame, it's not hatred. Like Ginu told us at the joint signing, like if he could have hated his way to getting rid of Guima, he would have.
yes.
It's like that relationship is the only thing that helps disentangle all of this mess.
Yeah, I thought about that too, especially when he says that. I'm like, yeah, hate's killing us. This hate is killing us. And like, yes, literally killing us
Yeah,
as a nation, but also just I think emotionally, like just tearing apart our view of our fellow person as a human. Like, we are not seeing the humanity in one another
yeah,
because of the hate, and it's so toxic,
yeah,
and it does require so much work and so much energy to keep your head above water and
yeah,
not stoop to name calling. And oh man, I just stay off of threads when you know that you should stay off Threads or Blue Sky or whatever you're on to take care of
All the things.
yourself.
Yeah.
It's like, I
Yeah.
need more happy, positive things. Goodness to be shown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To drag you down this same interesting thing, that a friend of mine texted me because their sister works with their church youth, and this is when you know it's a youth question because they always ask the best questions. A youth asked, "Can God redeem Satan?" Specifically because that God charges us to forgive our enemies. Would God do the same for Satan? With a follow-up question of, is there a plot twist and Satan changes and everything goes back before the fall?
Wow. That's awesome.
Which is like a beautiful question, which was also an interesting one to reply to a friend via text, because it had a lot of conditional statements of like, well, if we're going to assume Satan is real, then these things and
Yes. I think that I have wondered that and posed that question before in my life, and I think the response is, well, that wouldn't happen. Like Satan is just what Satan is, and as humans, we were given like free choice, and because historically or whatever the lore says that Satan was an angel, and maybe they're not given free choice. So I don't know. And like, how did Satan fall from grace if he didn't have free choice? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But I think if was the case, I think yes. Because I believe that God is a God full of grace and compassion, and that if that happened, then God would accept Satan, even though, wow, to be the like person who's in charge of all of the evil of all time, God can even handle that, and that's like mind-blowing.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, it's God we're talking about.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, and that's essentially where I landed in substantially more words. But the simple part being that's like the foundation of my theology is God's love and God's relentless invitation into God's love is absolutely boundless.
Yeah.
So it would be really hard for me to believe that. Granted, that also led to some interesting stuff towards the end of Murray Ray's book, which I will not get to 30 minutes into a podcast because it was the 9th chapter of a book. But yeah. So I think since I'm ready to get distracted by all of the things, I think I've got all of this, and I am so looking forward to my last conversation. So I've got 2 more of these.
Right.
But my very last one would be with Steve Holt, and that's when I get to talk about Rumi's
oh, I know.
Excellent line about like, if this is the Han moon, then I'm sworn to protect, then let it die. I'm like,
yes. I know. It's like, it's so hard to not jump to that song, to that part.
I feel like hard. Everything like hints towards it.
Yes. It's like, that's the climax. Like,
yeah,
that's where we're headed.
Yeah, like that is the climax, and there's like a 5-minute song after it.
I know my 11-year-old complains about that. He's like, all the other songs are too short. Why does that one get to be 5 minutes?
Oh, here's an interesting thing that I am pondering that I don't have a good answer to, but I noticed. Free is 100% in English.
Yes.
And it's the first song that is that.
I don't know why.
So I think it might be, I think Free is supposed to be the turning point song. And so this means that in whatever locality that the film is viewed in, free is in the native language of the viewer. Entirely.
That kind of gave me chill bumps.
Right when I was
Yeah.
That's like when last week when Nico was like, "Did you notice that all of the Korean in this song is the most violent parts of the song?" And I was like, "No, what do you mean?" So like, it's
what
like,
do you mean?
It's interesting how like they like kind of padded the violence using Korean, and like and at some points used Korean to like just like have fun wordplay and some like slang in there, just like to really just like lean into the Korean American, but like in Takedown and Free, there's like these very intentional uses of it, which like does like remind me of my in-laws, because I like for Takedown, like when my in-laws are angry, they getting too English is usually the harder part, and it's either in Taiwanese or Mandarin.
That does make sense. Yes.
But like here, like they're slowing down, that it's a way softer pace. And I think it's really cool that a song about knowing each other focuses lyrically on knowability.
Right. Yeah, I like that too. Yeah. We're going to take down all of the language barriers and we're just going to have this conversation. Yeah. I know for a long time I thought that when she said take my hand, it's open, I thought that she was saying a Korean word there. And then when we did the sing along, it actually showed all the lyrics on the screen. I was like, oh no, it's not soba. I thought it was soba or something. No, it's open. That's like I'm trying to make up a Korean word to go in that song that's not there. Yeah.
Any closing thoughts?
I would just say, if you've got something that you're hiding, talk to somebody, and talk to somebody that may be experiencing or had an experience that's similar to yours. Don't keep it bottled inside.
Yeah. That's so good. Yep. Is there any way for people to connect with you that you'd like to share?
Sure. I don't really have much online presence. That's not really my thing. But you can always email me at ashley@bemoremino.org. I am available there, and my church has a Facebook page, which is North Baltimore Mennonite Church. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining me. These have been fun, and
thanks for having me.
I think I have mentioned in a previous episode, like when my either spiritual director or therapist was asking, like, what am I doing that's like for fun to bring me joy? I was like, oh, I'm having theological conversations with colleagues, which sounds like work, but it's really just fun because this is absolutely useless for my congregation.
But it is. It's really fun. And it's really good to be able to process like the feelings that the movie brought up. Because it was a lot of feelings.
All of the feelings. Well, thanks again. And thanks to everyone that ends up watching this later, or if you were checking it out live, appreciate it. And the next time, I think, is also about a week from now, when Angela comes back to continue to talk about some demon songs. And then we're almost done, which I'm going to have to find something else fun to do after this. So yeah, have a good one.